Great, welcome back. And this is question 2004, and it's called the number of seniors and juniors to join the company. And so here we're given a candidates table with an employee ID as the primary key. And then we have the experience, which is an enum value, and they're either a senior experience worker or a junior experience worker. And then we have the salary that those candidates want for the role. And our job is that we want to get our query so that we can output the max number of senior workers that we can hire. And so in this case, we're given a list of employees with their employee ID, the experience that they have, and the salary that they have. And we want to output, the maximum number of senior candidates that we can hire with a $70,000 salary. And then with the remaining salary, once we hired as many senior level candidates as possible, we then hire, as many junior candidates that we can. So so for this, we're going to be making use of a couple different functions and a CTE table. So we'll start with the CTE table. So with CTE as, and then we'll actually have kind of two outer queries, which will join by union, and they'll be handling the cases for the senior and junior. So I'll just kind of quickly give you a showcase of that here. So we'll just select, senior as the experience level. And then in this case, we'll be selecting junior as the experience. And so these are just going to be pulled and, the values from it for the number of accepted candidates from this CTE that we're going to make use of. Right, and then we're just going to then need just a comma, and we're also going to take the count as the number of accepted candidates for both of them. Okay, and so we're just going to have a where clause, and this will filter out, which candidates that we're able to hire. But before we do all that, we'll go ahead and implement our CTE, which will be making use of a sum function. And we're going to use this so that we can sum, the salaries that they're earning and partition by their experience level. And so if we sum their salary, and this is using a Windows function, and we want to do this over a partition by their experience level. And so this will essentially output, the sum of the experience partitioned by their experience level. And so, we'll have two separate tables, one for junior and one for senior. And so now we just want to order by their salary, and then we'll order by their employee ID, just in ascending order. And so that this makes it that when we're summing it, we're starting from the lowest salary down to the highest salary, and then from the highest employee ID down to the lowest employee ID number. And so that way we're adding up the salaries from the cheapest or the candidate that's asking for the lowest salary first. And so that way we can maximize the number of senior level candidates that we can hire. And then we also can maximize the most junior level candidates that we can hire. And so now we'll also want to pull their employee ID as well as their experience. And this is all coming from that candidates table. Looks good. Oh, we just forgot to add the select clause here. Awesome. So now we'll fill out this where clause. So this will be where the experience is equal to senior. So we want to filter out our CTE by the senior level. And we only want to grab all the senior level candidates where the total sum of the salary is less than or equal to 70,000. And so we'll actually provide an alias for this column. Let's just call it salary sum. And so I'll just expand this. Can't type right now. Great. And so where the salary sum is less than or equal to 70,000, which is our max budget for this question, they define it right there. Okay, so this will go ahead so that as we're summing up these salaries and selecting these employee IDs and their experience levels, the cutoff will be at 70,000. So this will stop evaluating once it hits 70,000. So now we're going to do another where clause, but in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to set this to junior. So this is after we're going to calculate the number of junior level candidates that we can hire after we calculate the number of senior level candidates that we can hire. And so we're actually going to use a subquery here where we'll kind of evaluate this exact same query within the subquery and just subtract 70,000 from it. So it might make more sense once I implement it. So we'll select, and this is coming from our CT, and the where clause will be the exact same. Right, so we essentially evaluate the number of senior level engineers we can hire, and then we'll evaluate the number of junior level engineers we can hire. And so we'll grab the maximum of this salary sum, and then we'll just return 0 if it's null. Okay, so I'll just read this over once again, just double check. So the only thing that we're missing here in this select clause is we'll actually want to subtract this value from 70,000. And so this will be the remaining sum that we can consider for hiring junior level engineers. And so this if null function is great so that if this query that we're making here, or in this case here, they're identical, is if it returns 0 results, so there's no senior level candidate that we can hire for less than or equal to 70,000, it'll return 0 rows. And so this if null function will be used that we return the value 0, because if this result is returning nothing. So let's go ahead and run this. Oh, there's just an error. There needs to be a comma here. Let's try that again. Accepted, hit submit, and success. So I hope that helped. I'm not sure if it's actually faster than, close to 90% of the other online submissions. So it's a pretty good one. It's a popular one in the discussion section. I might have modified it a little bit. I know that the previous answer didn't include this equal sign, so they did it slightly incorrectly here. It's coming from, not this one. I think this one here, no. Anyways, it's one of the top answers here, so maybe go ahead and take a look at that. But it's a good question where we're making use of this if null function, the CTE, and then also how to make use of this some Windows function and then filtering it out and limiting it to certain values. So it's a great question. You learn a lot of tricks from it. So yeah, I hope that helped, and good luck with the rest of your algorithms. Thanks.